It's Antonio's goal when it mattered. It's Ravel's rapturous goal at the lane. It's Bale's last-minute free kick at Upton Park. It's the Obiang screamer. It's Lasagna Gate. It's Lanzini's 30-yarder to send Tottenham fan TV into utter disbelief. It's Tottenham versus West Ham. It's the cup final, but for who? Welcome back to West Ham on Official. Hope you are all well. It is the match preview for our midweek Spurs versus West Ham London derby. And who else but Mr. Sean, the Tottenham fan, to join me to discuss tomorrow's game. Sean, how are you, mate?
Really good, mate. Yeah, not too bad. Christmas is coming, so you've got to be a bit chipper.
Exactly. See, do you like my tinsel?
Oh, yeah, you spotted that. Is that red or is that claret or?
Oh, yeah, claret. I'm going to take claret. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I hope you are well. Of course, our two resident Spurs fans have decided to join us. David and Ronnie are here. Two of them have got to turn up, haven't they? I hope you are all well watching. Sean, well, where to start? We talk about Spurs most weeks, of course, on the Premier League Roundup show. But I mean, just give a dissection of what on earth has happened this season.
Well, I could sort of cover my team and yours in the same sort of category, really. Yeah. I think we've had probably longer than we've been doing these shows, so probably about 5 years of trying to employ fast fix managers, world class managers at that. Apart from Nuno, we had Conte and Mourinho, but we give them a second highest paid manager in the league, and we're going for a fast fix. It meant the style of play wasn't great. I'll be honest, we were winning, sort of successful a little bit last year with Conte Champions League. You couldn't fault him, but Ange's come in. The style of play is exciting. It's brilliant. Yeah, he said. I know rival fans, I think they're a bit jealous that he says all the right things and the press like him, but he does. You can't really knock him. We've been decimated by injuries. It's not an excuse. It's just a fact. And I think the good thing, something which has been very refreshing, and this is how we compare to the West Ham we'll come on to. The fans are well aware we had 12 out one game. Then it was 11, now it's 10. I think we've got 9 out for tomorrow. And obviously we got really hammered, really, in a strange game versus Chelsea. The Tottenham fans were the ones making the most noise at the end. The players clapped the fans. This is sort of unheard of at most clubs. But I think there's a real feeling at Tottenham that the players that have come in the last couple of windows have been very astute signings. The side of football is very good. It's not naive football. It was quite strange how the pundits against Man City changed their tune from the start of the game to the end of the game, saying they'd be naive to play the way they like to play it with 4 fullbacks in defence. Well, they got a good result, and I thought they thoroughly deserved that good result as well. So there's a feel-good factor. Short of that, there's a feel-good factor. Whatever the score tomorrow, I think there's a feeling that we got loads out. Even if we win, they won't get carried away. They know they can get. I think they weren't top by coincidence for 6 weeks. They would deserve to be there. And I think without these mass injuries and there's like 5 or 6 very, very important injuries, don't forget. I think we'd still be in the top 2 now, if not still top. I just think the style of play, no one's outplayed us. But then if I spin that to West Ham, you've had the sort of relative success last year, like I said, with Conte had getting 4th. But at the same time, you've been having it again, similar like Conte. Like, are we enjoying this? Are we not enjoying this? But where now Tottenham fans have made that change to he's not young, but a more exciting sort of style of football. I think you're sort of at that point where I watched your reaction to these late Souček goals that win games. You're cheering the goal, but part of you not really enjoying the win and the goal. And I said to you a long time ago, and it sounds a scandalous thing to say. And I know you can spin the coin, say what Moyes has done for your club. But in the back of your mind, I'll be surprised if some West Ham fans aren't thinking, we probably need to lose a couple of games there so he goes. That sounds mad to some people, but if Souček hadn't got these last few winners, then he hasn't got that little gel free card, do you know what I mean? And it's a weird place where I've been in your situation. You don't want to lose games, but you know this isn't the future. You just know it's not. It might be the summer and it changes anyway. So I think we're sort of on the up. If we win or lose tomorrow, obviously we don't want to lose. We know we're very, very confident there's a good future ahead. And I think West Ham at the moment, you're just a bit uncertain where that lies, I think, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry to go on a bit, but that tells the whole
That's all
story.
right. That's all right. Yeah, it's been a bit. It's been a bit up and down. Listen, there's no doubt the class that Spurs have oozed at the start of the season so far. You know that Chelsea game was something else, to be honest with you. And you know, there's been plenty of moments. Listen, where Spurs fans can get up and get excited, and of course, you know, most have. And I think you'll be in that top four at the end of the season. There's no doubt about that. I don't think you'll be there, and well, somewhere around there. And I think the way you've handled the players out has been really good. I actually can't believe how well, and I think even you battering up at Man City the weekend, and it was far from that.
Yeah, you're right. The Chelsea game, I don't even know. We've tried to cover it before. I don't even know where to start of it. Do you know what I mean? Two of our most important players out for 3 months in the space of 10 minutes. Two send-ins off. You can argue if they're red cards or not. Obviously, that one last night, that's done the rounds of Arsenal. You can compare tackles. That just decimated the game. And obviously, after that, the games since that, we weren't great against Wolves. It's been strange. We weren't great against Wolves, but we're 1-0 up to the 92nd, 89th, 90th minute. And then it just fell to pieces. I think we can get around a lot of injuries around the pitch. And some of them have surprised me, like the likes of Lo Celso. Most people thought he still starts for Argentina. He did start in the World Cup final if he was fit. Never really happened at Tottenham. Last two games, he's looked decent for Tottenham. Probably one of our best players. But it's in defence, really. Do you know what I mean? Ange's got this playing out style. We're relying on Emerson Morel, right back for Brazil, and Davies. He's got lots of experience. Davies actually played all right, but playing them together, it's a big ask. And I think we were found, and I think in that game, the Wolves game, Eric Dyer played as well. It was Dyer and Davies, and it just the last minute, you know, Eric Dyer's like, I think he switched off twice in injury time, and they scored twice. The game after that last week, no one wants to lose 3 games in a row, which we did. But then we had Villa, and I thought we were by far the better side versus Villa. It's one of those games we were by far the better side. Didn't take our chance. I think we had 3 times as many chances as them or something on goal, something silly like that. But again, one of our best players, in my opinion, was back after 4 months out. Ben Tanker, Matty Cash hacked him down, out for another 3 months. So then you're back to the drawing board in midfield again. So like, you're right. I was worried about Man City, and that's probably me doubting Andrews. It's unfair because, like I said, the game before, we had enough chances versus Villa to be 4 or 5-0 up at halftime, and the game's done. Didn't happen against City. We both had 4 shots on target. Possession was pretty even. So yeah, it's just how games go. Sometimes you only need 4 chances and you score. Other times you'll have 18, like I think we did against Villa, or something 15, and you only get 1 or whatever it was.
Let's have a look at some comments and then we'll go through team news for both sides. Terry, hope you are well, my friend. He says, Bowles, he is and always will be a hammer. Of course he is. Deep down, he knows it. The LD Cup just isn't enough. He's got his 50-50 scarf ready to go. Kent, I hope you well. He says, if Moyes was brave, we would play a chance tomorrow. Spurs play a high line. We could really get behind them, but we will play a low block, play right into their hands. We have a real opportunity, but it won't be taken. Yeah, no, I agree. We know what we know what we're going to do. Sean, how have Spurs coped? I mean, I don't think I watched it. Did Wolves set up under Gary O'Neill to sit back and absorb the pressure and try and do you in the counter attack, which in the end they managed to somehow beat you? How do you think Spurs are going to cope in their current state with what Moyes is going to do? Because we all know what he's going to do.
I think Spurs probably I've yet to see a major plan B change in the game for Tottenham. I think the game will suit if West Ham take the lead early.
Yeah.
A little bit. Oh, no, sorry. Got that wrong. The game will be for the better if Tottenham go 1-0 up early. Because then it's going to have to draw West Ham out a little bit. And for a spectacle, it'll make a better match. I think, well, Tottenham will have most of the possession. I'd imagine it'll be 60% plus, probably 65.
Easy, yeah.
They will probably have more attempts on goal. I can see areas where West Ham, especially with the key injuries, should exploit. Obviously, they've got a bit of pace on the counter attack. We're no slouches at the back, but we are missing our fastest defender, probably the fastest in the league. To be honest, he is.
Yeah.
He's not many out doing him up front. But yeah, I'd imagine you know what Moyes is going to do. He's not going to come and take it to us. He'll. There's little weak areas. The goalkeeper plays out. We like to play out from the back a lot. I know most teams do now, but we'll play triangles on the 6-yard box.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you all this sitting back, you probably need to press from the front quite a lot. Like if you're going to sit back and let us play out, then you're just going to park the bus. But if you actually want to try and win the game rather than relying on it in the 85th minute and after, you need the likes of Bowen and Kudos pressing, Ben Davies pressing, Udogie, who will be getting the ball quite close to our goal.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's have a look at some of your comments. Ronnie says Tottenham 5, West Ham 0. Well, we'll come back to that tomorrow, Ronnie. It won't be 5-0. It won't be far off it, but it won't be 5-0. Kent says, I called Spurs for top 4 to start the season. One game a week. They've got a great chance. They certainly do. West Ham have been poor lately, and I just think there is a team there that is waiting to take a beating, and this might be the game. It's we're there to be got at. There's no doubt about that. We're there to be absolutely ripped apart. But
West Ham don't ever take beatings, really, do they? It was the last team that gave West Ham a beating.
That's a good point.
A proper beating. Because I've been covering this a long time, and I don't know. You might have lost 3-0 or 3-1 to someone, but I can't remember it much more than that in a few years.
No,
because David Moyes just doesn't allow that. So
no.
I'll be shocked if there's more than 2-3 goals in it, whichever way.
There we go.
At the very most, that's if Tottenham win.
Yeah. Frama, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Kent says Europe papering over the cracks. Last decent performance was Brighton away for me. We are scraping through games with turgid football. Our luck will run out soon. Listen, it's hard to disagree with that, to be honest. Brighton away. When I look down the fixture list, I mean, I thought we showed some quite good resilience at home to Newcastle, but apart from that, I am struggling in that sense, to be honest with you. Right, Ronnie's put in a lineup: Vicario, Porro, Romero, Davies, Udogie, Bissouma, Lo Celso, Kulusevski, Johnson, Son, and Gill. What would you change about that? Anything?
I don't think Gill will start. Gill's never looked good enough for Tottenham. We got him. He just won the Europa League for Seville. He was in there. He was bought in that era where our scout, and I don't think was it the best. He come in around the similar time, I think, is Sessegnon, who I put in the same category. Both of them look a bit lightweight for the Prem. They've both been out on loan. Don't think he's good enough. So I think it'd be closer to the team, obviously with Romero in, that finished the game. I think Højbjerg could probably come in midfield, and I think they'll push Lo Celso left wing. Who's been very good, I know, but I don't think Richarlison's probably fit enough for a start yet. But again, it's an option. But yeah, other than that, I would expect Bissouma. Bissouma, by the way, you know how much I raised him at the start of the season. Then he had that. Do you remember that silly red card against Luton for simulation? Then he come back and got banned again for the Chelsea game, was it? For the 5 bookings.
Yeah,
he's been really poor since. I don't know what it is, but I rewatched the City game a little bit because he can be so good and run a game. I think City knew that and did a bit of a job on him. But by doing a job on Bissouma, almost like overcrowding him, that probably freed up Lo Celso as probably the best midfielder on the pitch, I thought, on the day. Yeah. So again, it's straight. I think Højbjerg could come back in. He divides fans a little bit, but I don't think Brian Hill's strong enough, to be quite honest. I just think the David Moyes side's always going to be a little bit physical as well. I just think he's very good on the ball, but he can just get bullied a little bit too much.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Fremer says, we are top of the group in Europe, but to be honest, we have been poor there as well. Moyes has a strange air of resignation about it. I think he knows it isn't going to improve any time soon. Yeah, Villa was our last loss. That's a good point. 4-1. We lost there. But yeah, since Yeah, since I think we got battered in like 2019 by City 5-0 at home, I can't seem to recollect anything too about anything near that. Right, let's have a look at some team news. We'll start with West Ham. Let's bring up what Moyes had to say today in the press conference. So the main, of course, injury news is with Mikel Antonio, who does like to play against Tottenham. He is unavailable. Moyes confirmed that Thursday trip to Spurs will come too soon for Antonio to be involved. But of course, Captain Zuma missed out of our last game out at home to Crystal Palace because his house got burgled and it was all a little bit up in the air. So hopefully that can all be resolved. They haven't found the person or woman or whoever who burgled his house, but he seems to be back into the sort of squad and available to play, which is good because we massively missed him against Crystal Palace. It's not a coincidence whenever Zuma goes out of that side, we make a couple of glaring defensive errors, certainly against Palace and against Brentford. That has been the case. So having Zuma back there, it is positive. I'd expect Jarrod Bowen to start up front. I don't think I'll watch it if Danny Ings is there, if I'm being totally honest with you, but Kurt Zuma's back there for West Ham. Overall, what have you made of West Ham, Sean?
You're not a great watch. Let's put it that way. You've got individual players. I think with Moyes, he's got your old sort of fashioned players that he likes, and he kind of just wants to chuck in a bit of individual brilliance to maybe get you out of jail at times. That's how I seem to see it. I could watch you even in Europe, the game's dull, the Paqueta comes out of nowhere and scores a volley or something like that, or Bowen hits her or scores a header. Just you have brilliant moments. Some of the goals have been very good. What game was it when Antonio scored that rocket? Was that this season?
Against Chelsea.
Yeah, you have again Chelsea, good example. I thought they were back in you first half, and then you had one or two goals out of nowhere, great goals. So you've got great moments. You've got players that can create these moments, and that's the danger for Tottenham tomorrow. As a team, it's a little bit. I can relate again a little bit to maybe Tottenham and Mourinho. Do you know what I mean? Harry Kane, probably the best striker in the world then and now, in my opinion. You know he's going to score a wonder goal or get us out of jail, but you've got to put up with 70, 80 minutes of dross. Do you know what I mean? A little bit. It's similar, really. So I can sort of relate to it quite a lot. Obviously, you've got Souček. 3 months ago, the most you probably didn't want him in the team. I know there's a few people trying, even leaving Ward-Prowse out of their starting lineups now as well. But I did say to you about a month ago, I think your midfield balance was wrong, and he's probably still. It might mean Ward-Prowse has got to be left out because now Souček.
We'll talk about the midfield then. So these two midfields come up against each other. I'd expect it to be Alvarez sitting, and then Souček and Ward-Prowse lining up against that Tottenham midfield. I think obviously in every game of football, a midfield battle is key. We haven't won too many midfield battles this season, but I mean, with that being a little bit weaker, and then Basuma's a bit out of form. Lo Celso played well, don't get me wrong, the other day against Man City, but that midfield battle's probably going to be relatively even with the circumstances of Spurs, would you say?
Well, yeah, you won't. So Lo Celso, most didn't really expect him to still be at the club. Højbjerg, he's been left out all season. He's been mainly even started one game. He started Wolves. He started Wolves and went to sleep for one of the goals. Left out. So it's the weakest in form of who's going to be first choice. It's the weakest Tottenham midfield we can probably put out as far as I can think. Because we started the season with Bissouma, Maddison, and Sarr. So now Maddison's out and Sarr's out. The best midfield we could probably play with everyone fit would be Bissouma, Maddison, and Bentancur. Bentancur is now out. So we're left with Lo Celso to pull the strings of Bissouma a little bit. Højbjerg probably will play, in my opinion. Probably ahead of Oliver Skip, who's more of an out-and-out holder. It's a makeshift midfield. So you have got your fully fit centre midfield. You've got the pick of whoever you got the pick of the five or whatever you've got to play in there. So if he gets it right, you won't. It's a weaker Tottenham midfield. There's no doubt about that at all.
Yeah. Just before we carry on, Mark's been a member of the channel for 11 months. Thank you very much indeed. And has chucked £10 in the pot. That is greatly appreciated, Mark. Thank you very much. Indeed, that will cover Sean's appearance fee. So that is greatly appreciated. What's that? Orange squash? That can't be.
Orange
That can't
squash,
be
mate. It's
orange
midweek.
squash. Yeah,
It's midweek. No alcohol midweek, mate. No
of
alcohol.
course.
School night.
Exactly. So let's let's move on to those attacking players for West Ham that you sort of referenced about scoring some good goals in there. And yeah, listen, there has been moments of class, and Bowen and Kudus have relatively got us out of jail in most games. And I mean, if there's going to be any way we're going to score, it's going to be from a set piece or from a moment of class from one of those two players. I'd expect Bowen to be leading the line, and he will be leading the probably one-man press towards Davies and Emerson or whoever's there. What have you made of specifically Bowen and Kudus this season, Sean?
I think they're both very good. As soon as Kudus started, well, even when he was off the bench, the first thing I said to you was, they're both quite alike. I wouldn't play them close to each other. That was my first thing. Like, for me, common sense, I'd have one on the left, one on the right. That's the first thing I'd do. I think if one's up front and one's, say you got Bowen up, well, I think you'll probably do that tomorrow. I think you got Bowen up front and Kudos on the right, who looks to tuck in on his left foot, doesn't he? Yeah. The danger is they're both going to run into each other a little bit. I don't think they're both. Not saying they're poor team players. They're both more individuals. That's how I see them. They're both runners. They both want to get one-on-one with a fullback. Yeah, I think they're both very good players. I'm not 100% convinced. Again, Moyes has worked that out of playing both in the same team yet. Maybe if you had a newer target man over and a new striker, and they sort of buzzed around him a little bit, that might make more sense to me. I think Man City a few years ago, or even now, you'd have a striker up front, you'd have Foden on the left, you'd have Sterling on the right, similar sort of players again. Even if for England, it sort of works. Imagine those two around Harry Kane. Do you know what I mean? Sort of for England, that sort of works. I'm not sure Bowen up top with Kudos sort of trying to do the similar thing off the right will work in the long term. It's probably not going to be a long-term solution, to be honest. But yeah, they're both very dangerous players. I'd imagine I'll be shocked if they don't. Those two and Paqueta aren't the danger men. Obviously, I know you've had a few goals from centre midfield as well. But yeah, they're definitely the danger.
Yeah, Paqueta has been occupying the left-hand side in recent weeks, which has infuriated the fan base massively. Because after 20 minutes, if he hasn't had the ball and if he hasn't really done it, he'll start diving around and doing all that stuff, which is just not nice to see. If he plays on the left, that'll happen again.
Will he play like left forward? Will he? Do you think?
Yeah.
Because Pedro Porro, he will be getting forward. He will leave the space behind, but he will be up, acting like a right winger.
Yeah,
that is definitely will happen. So our attack, defensive wise, obviously you get exploited when you play like Postecoglou does. There's areas where he can exploit us, but he's all about going for the game and attacking. But if we can attack down the right side, very good. Because I think one of the best players in the league this season, in my opinion, operates our right side going forward. But he also, like Kudos, likes to tuck in on the left foot. So as soon as he tucks in, we've got Pedro Porro up and down that. Like, he's a very, very attack. He can play right wing if you wanted. His delivery is good. So whoever's left forward, or unless you've got a centre midfielder covering it for him, giving Paqueta a free ride, they're going to have to watch that overlap.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fullbacks, I hope don't get too isolated. I think Emerson's been very, very good this season. But Soufal's a concern, to be honest. I thought he played well against Palace, but he has, for the first time this season on a couple of occasions, he has had an incredibly difficult time. I mean, most fullbacks will have a torrid time against Doku this year for against Man City, but Doku ripped him a new one, and there was a couple of other games where he's just looked a little bit more shaky than he has done in the last couple of seasons. So I think Moyes may just put the handbrake on a little bit more there, and just maybe tell those two or one of the midfield members just to ensure that the fullbacks aren't getting too sort of isolated down their sides, because whoever you've got down there, Son or whoever's bombing down, is going to cause a problem. That is for sure. Let's have a look at the injury list and see who is out for Tottenham. Let's bring that up onto the screen. Right, we will disregard the ones that we just know won't play. So Sessegnon, that goalkeeper. Right, Van der Ven, Perisic, would he go in your starting lineup? I'm not too sure.
He when we got him last year, Conte got him because Conte worked with him before. He's been a very, very high caliber winger forward for a long, long time. He's not a wing back. Conte played him out of position, really, especially now he's getting on. In pre-season, this was sickener, really, because he's never going to kick a ball for Tottenham again because his contract's up in the summer. In pre-season, the start of this season, he looked class coming off the bench. Like, the experience he's got. Do you know what I mean? He's scored in World Cup finals. He's won Champions Leagues. Off the bench, he looked like a hell of an option. Now he's done his ACL, I think, and that's him. He probably wouldn't start games, but that's a hell of an option to have on the bench. And that is a blow, really, to miss him. It is a blow.
Yeah. Solomon's done his meniscus, whatever that is. Maddison's out, Sarr's out, and of course Bentancur, which you've already mentioned. So, obviously there's evidently those injuries there. There's 5 maybe starters that aren't going to be involved. And you've mentioned that there are still areas to exploit. One question I will ask is, there's areas to exploit. How did Man City not exploit them on the weekend?
It's a good question, that, because I know they missed a few chances, but they only had probably
they didn't batter you by any extent.
No, I think obviously City are known for being an attacking side, and listening to Pep's sort of comments on Ange all season, really. Obviously, a lot of people have been talking about him because he won managing him up twice. I think Pep actually feared Tottenham a little bit. I think he gave Tottenham a lot of respect. I think he realised if he completely attacked a lot, he might get opened up again at the other end. I know it's a totally different manager in system, but Tottenham have had a lot of success against Man City in the last 4 or 5 years. I think the last 3 managers have all beaten Man City. Nuno beat Man City in his first or second game. Conte beat Man City. We've won it. Yes, he had not every year, but quite frequently. We've beat him there. We've knocked him out the Champions League at there. So I think Pep, especially seeing how Ange attacks, I think he probably gives a lot of respect and realised he couldn't go for it with as flat as he wanted. I know we got on about our injuries. I don't think Man City look the same side without De Bruyne.
No.
So they're missing De Bruyne, and when they've missed Rodri as well, they lost 3 in a row. So that's probably their 2 most important players. The 3 games they missed, they lost them all. So, do you know what I mean? So when injuries you can't use an excuse. When you take out 5, 6 starters out of a team and you lose 3 in a row, you sort of look at the other teams and think, hang on a minute, there's probably no teams in Europe that can cope with that many guaranteed starters at your side.
Yeah.
So I just think Man City, Pep just gave us a lot of respect, which he probably should deserve to, really, because we can take a game to anyone, but he won't be scared of anyone. The only thing I will say is I'm surprised he didn't maybe push an extra man up on the likes of Ben Davies and Emerson Royale, because neither of them are the quickest. Neither of them are known to being brilliant on the ball. And I don't think Emerson didn't have the great game. He's nowhere near a centre half, but Davies has been very solid in that role. He hasn't got the pace of Van der Ven. But yeah, I just think Pep was just a bit cautious, if you ask me. I just think he knows what Tottenham can do on their day, even with 9 injuries. And he seemed, when everyone's fit, well, we can all make the case for when all our players are fit, but I just think he gave us a lot of respect, and rightly so, in my opinion.
No, I agree. The big question is, though, are you at Frome on Saturday, Sean?
I am. That is my plan.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
I'm going to. Obviously, I'm a secretary of the local boxing club, so 2 of our boxers are in Bristol on Friday evening. So I'm combining it with going shopping in Cabot Circus, keeping the wife happy. That gym's actually right next to the shopping centre.
Convenient. Convenient.
So I'm driving there Friday, and I might go and have a few beers and watch the football on Saturday.
There we go. I think just to just to round off, I mean, you sort of said that no side has particularly sat off and just invited the pressure and been difficult to break down, and that is what West Ham will do tomorrow. I've got absolutely no doubt about that. We are going to sit on the edge of our own box with a back four, with a holding midfielder that will hold the hands of our back four. There is no doubt about that. Alvarez will sit there, and then probably one of the others will sit in our own half as well. We will be cautious, and we will in the first half especially just try and see and just scope out what Spurs are going to do. And I think the test is if Spurs don't score in the first 20 minutes, or even if we get to half time still 0-0, which I don't think can happen. But even if the first 20-30 minutes remains goalless, you've mentioned no plan B has come out from Spurs in the past, and that's the only glimmer of hope that I'm trying to hold on to.
Yeah. Well, yeah. When you said that, it's funny you said about no plan B. When I meant no plan B, I mean like there hasn't been much of a structure change in the shape, but because we've got a couple of bodies coming back, obviously not really the first choices. I think against Villa and Man City, the first hour, I think Kulusevski was playing central in the Maddison role, and I thought he looked very good there. And I think that's where his up to joining Tottenham, that's where he's been playing more, so he can playmaker role in there. And I think he's probably, I mentioned it a minute ago, I think he's probably one of the form players in the Premier League this season for consistency. So we got the option. I'm thinking about Alvarez because he's like a traditional ugly sort of player, and he's going to be looking for our number 10 and give him a bit of a kick. If Lo Celso gets bullied, because if Lo Celso plays central and he's getting bullied by Alvarez a bit, we can push him left. Do you know what I mean? And we have got the option now. Obviously, we've got Brennan Johnson.
Right.
You've said about you playing the low block. That might not favour him because he's lightning. He's lightning fast. So he'll thrive on the ball over the top or a counter. We might not get that against you, so it might not be a game which favours his style. But then whether you rate Richarlison or not, he gives you an extra option. Whether you want to keep him on the left wing, we put Son left. So we've got little tinkerings we can do. It's that number 10 role I'm thinking. I'll be shocked if Brian Gill starts. It'd be Lo Celso or Kulusevski in the 10 role. So you might start one of them there, and if it's not working, he can shift Kulusevski back onto the right wing because he's always very successful on the right wing, tucking on the left foot. He's got proven success there. Goals, assists, you name it. Very, very, very good ball carrier. I don't think many players in the Premier League run as much as him either for meters covered. So we've got that option in that attacking midfield where Alvarez is going to try and bully that player there. Let's be honest. That's what he's going to do. So with Lo Celso, he's always been very, very inconsistent for Tottenham. If he gets kicked about a bit, knocked about a bit, then it's standard for him just to not fancy it a bit. He's one of them. So yeah, that's an area where it can change. So I would, if I was a West Ham fan, I would keep an eye on that little area really, just how Alvarez is dealing with whoever's in that 10 role.
Yeah. I think that'll be where the battle is, and Alvarez will get booked. He gets booked every game, so it just depends on what player he gets booked, making a challenge on. But we will see. Yeah, look, I'm not particularly confident about it, especially if Spurs score early. I think the floodgates could open, and it won't be very nice, to be honest. But if we can frustrate and sort of attempt to break on the counter and nick a goal, maybe, you never know what might happen. Let's move on to score predictions then. Sean, I'm going to let you go first. A simple score prediction, sir.
This is a hard one. I can't predict Tottenham. You see my prediction for the Man City game. I think 2-1 Spurs. I was honestly going to go 1-1, but I got to be trying to show a bit of confidence. I'll go 2-1 Spurs. I think the home crowd will really get behind them because I think that might be it. Like the Chelsea game before it all went wrong, it was loud. And like I said, it's a happy place at the moment. You can go 2-0 up tomorrow, but it won't be that unhappy in there because I think they just sense a good future. So yeah, I'll go 2-1. I think the crowd might push it on.
I think it's one of those games where I could give a heart and a head prediction, against a side that can easily rip us apart. And yeah, look, I've got to be optimistic and say, I think Spurs will score, but but I've just got to hope that somehow we score 2. I'm gonna, with my heart, I'm gonna go 2-1 West Ham. With my head, I'm probably sensing a 3-1 Tottenham. To be honest with you, I can just see it, especially a Spurs score in the early stages of that first half. I just hope we can hold it all together. To be honest, I've got more confidence for Spurs than you do, Sean. This ain't right.
Yeah, Tottenham score early a lot. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
We score early a lot. Like first 5-10 minutes, we do get a lot of early goals. And I know also you've got a terrible record just after half time, haven't you?
That's awful. It's awful.
I think I know we've scored a few quite early in the second half as well. I know that's when we got our goal versus Luton when we were down to 10 men. Come straight out and scored. I think City, what was the score at half time against City? It was they scored, then we scored. We come out the blocks fast anyway. We don't.
I think the statistic with West Ham is I think in this calendar year we've conceded 16 goals between the resumption of the second half and the 58th minute or something. So inside a sort of 10 to 12 minute period, we've conceded 16 goals in this calendar year, which is an issue. But
and just got very high standards as well. Like this, like he's not like these managers where you're not quite on it and he says and they praise the team. There's been like Tottenham's. They've got their own sort of man that does the interviews and the videos. He's come out full time and goes, "Well done today, Ange. Great performance." He goes, "No, not really." He's very like that. So if we're first half and you think, well, Spurs aren't quite on it, second half you expect them to come out absolutely flying. I'll be surprised if we're off the boil a little tiny bit. I'll be shocked if we have 2 halves the same.
Yeah.
If the first half's a bit not great, we're maybe losing the ball, not creating many chances, bit sloppy, I'll be amazed if we don't come out second half a lot stronger. So I find West Ham games harder than most teams to predict because you know what's likely to happen, but
you never know.
because you sort of know what's going to happen. It's hard. I've also found it hard to doubt them, like write them off. They're a strange thing to predict, and the manager's hard to predict. I would say 2-1, but not massive confidence because I know what he does. But one thing I do wonder is probably going on again, my 100th point. I wonder if you've got enough players who are decent enough at finishing at the moment, because I think the goalkeeper is probably the best in the league on form this season. Probably.
Yeah.
For a shot stopper, it's going to take something special. Yeah. And I hope I'm not shooting myself in the foot. Other than one iffy pass here and there, he hasn't looked like making a howler either. He's not like a Lloris where you might have a half shot and you throw it in.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any signs of that being possible. He's plucked them out the top corner, plucked them out the bottom corner. He comes to crosses. He looks the complete keeper. Even the Italians are crying from the start ahead of Donnarumma. He has looked the real deal. So it will take a hell of a finish to beat him, I think. Or a brilliant teamwork goal. Obviously, if it's point blank range, they're always hard to stop. But I don't see you probably scoring a wonder goal. Even a Ward-Prowse free kick, he might have to get it right in the corner. Do you know what I mean? He's not gonna give you one. Put it that way.
There we go. Well, Lanzini's not here anymore, so we ain't got to fear about that, Sean. I'll just sneak that in. Any draw would be a result, in my opinion, 100%. I would snatch a point off of you right now. 3-1 says Dad. 3-1 also to Tottenham, says Ronnie. We will leave it there. Sean, thank you very much indeed for joining me. I'm not going to wish you good luck in any sense, to be honest with you, because I just don't want to. But I will speak to you very soon. Thank you very much indeed for providing insight and joining me. Thank you very much, Sean.
Cheers, mate. See you later.
Mate. See you later. Thank you very much indeed for joining us on this match preview. If you enjoyed it, drop a like on the video and subscribe to West Ham Official if you are new. A bit of a dissection there and an insight into them lot at the lanes. Yeah, that's it from me. Come on, you Irons. I don't know whether there'll be a build-up show tomorrow. I will decide tomorrow. So hit the notification bell so you will be notified if we do come live with a build-up show. 8:15 kickoff live on Amazon Prime Video as all of this match week's games are. So just check out, just watch out for that one. So hopefully we can pick something up. You never know what will happen. It certainly will be a good evening in North London if we do. But until the next one, thank you very much. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Thank you very much, Sean. And we will see you soon right here on West Ham Official. Bye-bye.